When you're walking down the street, you probably see a lot of dogs. Some look happy, some look sick, and yeah, some are just puppies trying to figure things out. It's a sight we're all pretty familiar with. But have you ever really stopped and wondered why? Why are there so many? Well, behind what we see every day, there's a much bigger story playing out, and it all comes down to uncontrolled breeding. And today, we're going to break that down. In this explainer, we're going to focus on the street dog population in Bangladesh to really unpack a clear, scientific, and honestly, a compassionate answer to this whole problem. So here's our roadmap. We'll start by really getting a grip on the problem, then we'll define what spay and neuter actually is. After that, we'll explore the huge benefits, get real about the challenges we face, and then, this is the important part, we'll lay out a practical action plan that shows how every single one of us can get involved. Let's get started. Okay, so first things first, let's get a really clear picture of the problem itself. Because we're talking about more than just a lot of dogs. We're talking about a whole cycle of suffering and risk that, believe it or not, affects everyone. So the core issue, right, is that without any control, the population just explodes. And this creates a really tragic situation where so many puppies die from disease or just plain starvation. But it doesn't stop there. It spills over into our lives too. You see more conflict in neighborhoods, and you have to think about very real public health risks like rabies. It's a stressful, difficult cycle for both the animals and for us. So how in the world do we break this cycle? Well, the most effective and humane method, the one that animal welfare experts all over the world recommend, is called spay and neuter. Now, it might sound a bit technical, but trust me, the idea is really, really simple. Let's break it down. For female dogs, the procedure is called spaying. It's a totally routine operation that a trained vet performs, and it safely prevents them from having puppies. Simple as that. And for the male dogs, the procedure is called neutering or castration. And just like spaying, it's a common, safe surgery that stops them from being able to reproduce. See? Together, these two procedures are the foundation for any humane and effective way to manage the population. So why is this the go-to solution? Well, it's because the benefits are huge. They go way beyond just preventing births. It creates this amazing ripple effect of good things that improve life for the dogs and for the whole community. All right, let's dive into the 4 big reasons why this approach is just so powerful. First off, and this is the big one, it gets right to the root of the problem. Instead of just reacting to an ever-growing crisis, it proactively stops new litters from being born into a really tough life. It's a humane approach that tackles the cause, not just the symptoms. Second, it's a massive win for the dogs themselves. These procedures seriously cut down the risk of some awful reproductive cancers and infections. To put it simply, dogs that have been spayed or neutered tend to live longer, much healthier lives. Number 3 is something that helps all of us: better behavior. Neutering can seriously decrease aggression, all that territorial fighting, and a lot of other behaviors driven by hormones. This makes our communities safer and just more peaceful for everyone. And all of that brings us to our 4th and really crucial point: huge public health and economic benefits. Fewer stray dogs means fewer dog bite incidents. That in turn means lower medical costs. It just goes to show you that the compassionate approach is also the smartest and most sustainable one for society. Okay, now let's be real for a second. Trying to implement a huge program like this isn't easy, especially somewhere like Bangladesh. It's so important to be realistic about the hurdles we need to clear. And yeah, the hurdles are pretty big. We're talking about everything from a shortage of vets and funding to cultural fears, and sometimes just a basic lack of awareness. But here's the thing. While these challenges are very real, none of them are impossible to overcome. In fact, they give us a really clear roadmap of where we need to focus: building partnerships, educating our communities, and finding the resources. So, with those challenges in mind, what's the actual game plan? The good news is, there is one. There's a clear 5-step action plan that communities can follow to build a program that really works and lasts. Think of it like a smart, continuous loop. It all starts at the local level with community medical camps. But the surgery alone isn't enough. You have to pair it with vaccinations and public education to really build trust. That work gets powered by local fundraising. Then you track the animals to monitor success. And finally, you use that data to work with local governments to create better policies, which makes the whole thing easier next time. It's a complete, sustainable system. I know this all sounds huge, like a massive project, but the most crucial part of this entire plan, it's you. Real change only happens when individuals decide it's time to act. And look, there are so many ways you can jump in. You could volunteer your time at a shelter or donate to support the amazing local groups already doing this work. Even just sharing what you've learned today helps raise that crucial awareness. It could be as simple as talking to a neighbor or helping out in local schools. Seriously, no action is too small. Every single one helps build momentum for real, lasting change. When it comes down to it, this isn't just about charity. It's about building a safer, healthier future for all of us. Spay and neuter is the scientific and the compassionate heart of that plan. So the only question left is, what role are you going to play in making it happen?